I'm going to switch over to you now, Harold. And there's Harold. Hi.
Oh, hi.
Good.
Should I change my name on the screen?
Oh, you have it as Ulysses? No, that's okay. That's okay. I think maybe some people will see this that know you as Ulysses.
I
You
know
go
I'm
by.
confused.
Oh, you're confused. I don't care if you want to change it. That's. Do you? I don't think I ever actually got. Oh, you know what? I got extra sound coming around here somewhere, don't I? Let me turn that off. Yeah, that did it. I never really got a good handle on it. It seems like to some people you're Ulysses, some people you're Harold, and I can't judge that either one is more popular than the other.
Well, Harold is my middle name, and I use that in the flying community
Okay.
because,
Everywhere else you're usually Ulysses then?
yeah, family, friends. Although, I have a lot of aviation friends, and they know me as both. So,
Hence the reason why I hear both.
right.
All right.
I got a split
So,
personality.
and that works as long as you don't argue with each other, I guess.
Exactly.
So the task is you want to upgrade your laptop to an SSD drive and do it yourself, right?
Correct.
Awesome. Awesome. That is
With your
thrilling.
help.
Yeah. Understood. So we're going to bring your computer up on the screen right quick here and get right into it. And I think you have an Amazon account. Is that correct?
I do, and I have it up.
Oh, good. Good. All right, so I'm going to connect to you, and we've got a couple things we're going to do before we actually try to place the order, because we want to check on a couple things first. And I haven't pre-explained that to you, so we're going to explain it as we go. Now, let me ask you this. Are you already aware of where the hard drive is in your laptop and how to remove it?
I have no idea.
Okay, then that's a good thing because we're going to be able to give a presentation during this video that would be useful for anybody because some laptops are more difficult to get to the hard drive than others. So
I'm technically oriented, so I should be able to not be too confused.
I have no question about that, and that's actually not the source of the concern. The source of the concern has to do with having the right tools on hand and understanding where that drive is and what you do to get to it. It's not hard to do, but it can be very different from one computer to another. So now I need to punch a couple buttons here and get us set up right. So here I've got your computer on screen, and I'm going to make a couple adjustments to the way our images display because it's different when I'm trying to display a Zoom session. And I have on the YouTube video you and I side by side down in this area of the screen, but you only see me on your screen.
Correct.
So just to make sure you're aware is that you're always visible on screen even though you can't see it from your end.
Okay.
All right. So now let's make your screen larger in my window. I'm going to come up here and click on Stretch to Window. And then I'm going to click on Full Screen. And that gets rid of all of my computer around the boundary of the image, which is something you don't see. That's an explanation for people watching on YouTube. So here we've got a new tab. What I want to do is go to hp.com. We're going to pull up a manual for your computer. And cookies. Do you have strong concerns about cookies one way or another?
No.
Okay. And we'll accept that. And I'm going to pop back down to my computer for a moment. So I'll come down to Microsoft OneNote on my computer because I have your serial number
Yeah, I sent that to you yesterday, I think.
Oh, I had it from our previous session,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
Um, and then click on support. And let's see, I want support by products, troubleshooting, software and drivers. Really what I want is documentation, but they didn't have that listed there. So then kind of scroll down here a bit, click on laptop. And then in here, I'm going to paste your serial number and click submit. So, do you concur that your laptop is an HP Pavilion 15 with this model number? You might not know the model number.
Yeah, I did look it up, and that is correct.
Okay. So then these are drivers for it. And what we want is the documentation. Did I slide right past it? I think it's on a different page. Well, that's not feeling right. Software diagnostic products, computer support, diagnostic tools. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? These are drivers. Feels to me every time I come in to find this, I'm wondering if it's different from one model to another or something. Because I'm not.
Would it be under?
We're in software and driver download, so maybe I'm too deep into it. Would it be what?
I was just thinking under products, it says computer support. I don't know if that.
Yeah, let's try that. We already selected laptop, and so that's different than a printer. Windows 10 operating system. Sometimes my eyes are bouncing around so quick that I miss something obvious. And in my imagination, people watching on YouTube are yelling at the screen trying to tell me where it is. Here, identify your computer for manuals and specific product information. See, we already identified it once. Then submit that. This is looking more promising. There's a button for manuals. See, we were in drivers, and how we got straight into drivers rather than an opportunity for manuals, I'm not clear on, and I have to go back and look closer at it. So let's see, maintenance and service guide. Service guide is really what I want, but I'm just going to look at this. Hard drive solid identifying, preventing, diagnosing, no. User guide, no. Maintenance and service guide, and usually it's the largest of whatever is available. And then scroll down to a table of contents. Here we go. Getting to know the computer, removal and replacement. And removal and replacement, preliminary requirements, replacement procedures, optical drive, bottom cover, battery, hard drive. That's what we want. And there's a separate line for solid state drive. So we're going to check both of those because some laptops have both. And we'll get into that a little bit more when we get there. Okay, so shut down computer, disconnect external devices, remove optical drive, bottom cover, battery, then remove the hard drive. There should be an illustration here. So yeah, so this hard drive, we do have to do, you have to do some disassembly. Some hard drives, there's a single screw and it'll slide out through an access port on the side of the computer, and that's not the case here. And when this hard drive comes out, it has these side rails here, and you have to remove those side rails from the drive and attach them to the new drive. This is the signal cable, well, it's signal and power, that connects to the edge connectors. So the SSD drive is going to be the same size. We can tell this one's a spinning drive because we got the round spindle in the metal, and the SSD drive won't have that. Now okay, so then it goes to wireless LAN module. So that's all we care about there. Now let's go up a little bit more to the beginning of this. Okay, so before removing the hard drive, shut down the computer, disconnect external devices, disconnect power, remove the optical drive, remove the bottom cover, remove the battery. Now let's take this URL here, the address of this document. I'm pressing Control-C to copy it. And we are in Microsoft Edge. And rather than, I didn't really need to copy it, I'll just put it here. So HP Pavilion 15 maintenance and service, will put it on the favorites bar. And we probably have to go display the favorites bar or click over here on favorites to get to, oh, I see what you got here. It's prompting you here to set Microsoft Edge as the default application for PDF. We'll just close this. You probably have Adobe Acrobat Reader that you would, typically prefer to use. And then So here we've got that address now on the favorites bar. So you can get back to this document at any time by coming through this direction. Okay? Was that a phone you need to deal with?
Yeah, let me go answer it.
All right.
Hey, John.
Let's see, I'm seeing 4 concurrent viewers. Oh, Catherine Hauserman, hello.
Not really.
Yes. So you make comments, some drives are in a special cage, absolutely, and that's why I want to show this method of finding out what a person has to deal with on any particular computer. I'm going to go over here and mute Harold so we don't inadvertently overhear something on his phone conversation. I thank you for the offer to help, Catherine. I think we'll be fine with this. And then Islander Jer from the tiny island of Jersey. Welcome. Glad to have you here with us. So we're going to figure out what Harold's going to buy for an SSD and how to go about installing it, and then actually place the order. And most likely we'll be ordering a Samsung 860 EVO, I'm suspecting, but we'll discuss that in a little bit. I'm going to wait till I see him show up on the camera to unmute him. And another comment from Catherine, Lenovo is easier. And some HPs, I'm sure, have that drive that slides out from the side. That's really slick when that's the case. And Catherine says, sure, I will stream to my upgrade to a 5800X. And Islander says, I found the 870 EVO for the same price on Amazon 2 days ago. Same price as the 860. Oh, there he's back. Okay, Harold, I have you on mute while you had your phone call going, so you can unmute yourself. Let's see. Did you get that there? Need to unmute.
Okay.
There you go. I think you were able to still hear me, weren't you?
I was, but I didn't see the unmute. So
Yeah.
I
I didn't want to inadvertently hear something on your phone call that we shouldn't be broadcasting. Okay, so I want to take a look at what else we've got in here. Well, it's telling us some things about the drives apparently that are available for replacements. We're not really interested in those because those are spinning drives. And we're currently on page 48 of the PDF. That may not be 48 of the manual. See, we're actually on page 40 down here. So if we want to come back to this page, and we will, we can do so by just typing 48 in here. But I'm going to click here. This says optical drive on page 36, and that's not likely going to be 36 of the PDF. As we see, it's 44. And this gives us an opportunity to look at the procedure for removing the optical drive. And we'll probably be able to recognize it just by looking at the picture instead of reading the instructions. But it looks like there's one screw here. It's a Phillips head screw. And then the optical drive pulls out the side. And what I find is that you remove the screw and then kind of use your fingernails over the edge of that optical drive and pull it out. And it's kind of tough to pull out. And so you've got to get a little bit of force with your fingers.
So that's the CD drive.
Yes, that's
Okay.
a CD drive. Yeah, they call it an optical drive.
Yeah, that was confusing me.
Oh, now here you go. I already forgot the page number of where we came from. Do you remember it?
36.
Was it 36? No, I was thinking it was like 50 something. I think 36 was the, I want to say 54. Does chat remember? Page 40, Catherine's saying. So I don't know if you're aware, Harold, we've got a few people watching along on the YouTube live stream. Catherine Hauserman and Islander Jer have spoken up in their chat. There could be others that haven't spoken up. Is this the page for the... Oh, that doesn't look like it. Well, I often wind up going back to the table of contents. So I use the scroll bar to drag it up to get back to the table of contents. Yeah, it says 40. Oh, it's 40 for the manual, but it's 48 in the PDF file. That's what. So that's the number we want to remember is 48 to come back to this. So we've seen how to remove the CD drive, DVD drive, optical drive. And so then we'll go to this next one, remove the bottom cover. So this is the end of the optical drive. We were right there. We could have just scrolled down if we knew that the bottom cover was the next thing that the manual was going to say. So here's the instructions for removing the bottom cover, which includes the optical drive. And the other things prior to that was removing the power, disconnecting external devices, and so on. We've already seen that. But now here's a piece that a person could easily miss. Remove the computer rubber feet. So the rubber feet are typically use some kind of adhesive, and you just use your fingernails or a plastic. If you have the spudge tool, you could use that. This kind of a thing, but you could even use a flat blade screwdriver. But I think mostly I use just my fingers and fingernails. Then coming down here, you're going to have 4 Phillips, 2 Phillips, 2 Phillips, 2 Phillips. So you got all these screws to remove.
Can we print that page?
Sure. Let's see, I'm going to do a right click. Now let's do print. Here's a print. So just click on the printer icon. And I'm looking to print the current page. And this doesn't have a choice for current page. So we need to actually use a page number. And that's going to be the page number of the PDF. I'm going to have to cancel from here. So it'll be page 46, not the page number that's in the manual, because the computer's not going to recognize that. So we want to print page 46. Click on the printer icon and then click on this dot. I could have just clicked straight into that field and 46. We're only printing one page, so we don't need to worry about it printing on both pages, but I'll make that choice anyway. Yeah, this is a really useful one to see because it looks like that's the rubber feet and there's two screws. So I think there's one screw that's visible and another one that's under the rubber foot. So if you were to just turn the computer over and go after the screws without looking at this manual, you could easily not realize that there's a screw under those rubber feet because there's a screw nearby anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah. I've been surprised how many times the manual kind of saves me from making a mistake that could wind up being either a nuisance or costly. So here's another one. There's a screw, and then nearby is a rubber foot with a screw under it. So that's the screw, and that apparently is a rubber foot. So this number 1 right here corresponds to this number 1, not this number 1. It corresponds to what's in the parentheses, even though they're both a 1. So then this 2 corresponds to this, and then the 3 corresponds to this, and the 4 corresponds to that, and the 5 corresponds to this. So these screws are different. These 2.5, there's 3 of them that are 2.0, but they're different lengths. I'm pretty sure those are references to lengths right there. So you're going to want to have a method to position these screws so you know where they go back into.
Correct.
Okay? And actually having this printed out is going to help you with that too. Because once you take these screws out, you take, for instance, this number 2 right here. Those screws are the same as each other. These 2 are the same as each other. And then 3. So these screws are the same as each other. That's a number 4. So these 2 screws are number 4. And then number 5. Yeah, so that's a useful page. Did that print out okay?
I'll go check.
Yeah. So in the chat, 870 TB, let's see, I guess you're just showing us what the price is of the 870. Catherine, they are hidden often. That would be the screws. RTFM is always good advice. RTFM. What is that? Is that the manual?
Printout's good.
Okay. Take a paper and make squares on it and write it down. Yeah, Catherine's giving that suggestion for keeping track of the screws.
Exactly.
I'm going to grab my device. Of course, you don't do this often enough to care about one of these, but for people who might watch the video, I get this magnetic pad from iFixit, so I can put the screws from each section of the computer in a different square and keep them organized that way. But you could just do it with a piece of paper, or I really think you're probably good with this one that you printed out. Okay. That was about the best type of case scenario I could have hoped to present on a YouTube video. Reason for go look at the manual. Then after that, you've taken the screws out. Now that's not the end of the manual. Insert case utility tool or similar thin plastic tool into the display hinge areas of the bottom cover. So the hinges are back on this side. So they're saying to use some kind of a tool. And commonly with computer tools, we use these spudge tools or spudger tools. It's just a plastic pick of sorts. And but since this is telling us to do it near the display hinge areas, if a person were to just take the screws out and go after it, they wouldn't really know where is the secret place to really make it easier to take that cover off. Then separate the rear edge of the bottom cover from the keyboard top cover. So the rear edge is back where the hinges are. Separate the rear edge. So you're just using a tool of some sort. Sometimes a guitar pick is a good thickness of plastic to do this kind of thing with. And I had somebody in comment on one of my videos say that what did he say that he uses? He uses some kind of a, not a chisel, but a metal garage woodworking tool. And that he's always used that, and it worked fine for him. So you start with separating that rear edge, and then insert a case utility tool, similar thin plastic tool, into the optical drive area of the bottom cover. Now what you're doing is this bottom cover has plastic tabs all around the perimeter. Well, at various different points of the perimeter. So when they're telling you to put the tool in at a certain place, they're no doubt trying to guide you to put in that tool near where that plastic tab is. And you just kind of want to rock it, work it gently, trying to get it to release, and eventually it'll kind of pop or snap. And you can easily be worried that you may have broken that tab. And it can be broken, but if you just go slow and easy and patient, and we'll be doing it on a YouTube video, so we'll help with that guidance that way. Then separate the tabs built into the keyboard top cover from the slots built into the bottom cover. So they're mentioning the top cover and the keyboard because when you have the laptop open right now, and the keyboard and the top cover are all there together, and what you're trying to do during this portion of the job is separate that bottom cover from the top cover and the keyboard. Then remove the bottom cover. So once you've got all of those tabs released, then it'll just lift up. Now, this is another point for looking at the manual. Sometimes you have to, well, not so much the bottom cover, but like if you get to removing a keyboard, there's some components where you have to remove them carefully because there's some wire attached that you need to remove, rather than just pulling the piece completely off assuming that it's free. It might not be free yet, but this is telling us that this one is. So now we get to the battery section, meaning that's all we need for removing the bottom cover. So now we'll go back to page 48 for removing the hard drive. So we've looked at the section for the optical drive, we've looked at the section for the bottom cover, and now they want us to remove the battery, which tells me your battery is inside the computer and not removable as while the computer's closed. So here's the battery. Before removing the battery, follow these steps. So these are all steps we've already looked at. We've already looked at disconnecting the power and the optical drive and the bottom cover. So we can come right to here. Remove the 4 Phillips 2.0 5.7 screws. So they're showing you where those screws are. Those two are kind of towards the center of the battery, and these two along the edges. Now we can see that there's other screw holes here. That looks like an opening for a screw. This does, and these two do. I'm guessing those are probably places that were fastened with the screws that you've already removed for removing the bottom cover. So when you go back to reassemble the computer, it's useful to have the documentation available so that you know which screws do I need to put in when you're putting in the battery, because you could easily put this screw into one of these other holes.
So we should probably print this page as well.
I was going to suggest it if you didn't ask for it. Oh, and I should have paid attention to what page that is. 47. I just click right in this field here, 47, and then click print. It still says one side, just barely we can see that under the, hiding under that edge. Do you need that call?
No.
Okay. I'm going to take a look at chat here because sometimes chat offers tips that I have missed along the way. I don't need to look all the way over there. I have it over here too. Take a paper. Let's see. Let me catch up here. Oh, no, that's read the freaking manual, Catherine says. That's technical verbiage, I guess.
You get a lot of help from YouTube.
Yes, yes, yes. It is wonderful to have these folks. Catherine is a special person to me and to the YouTube audience. I have not met her in person, but other people watching this, there's a lot of other people that watch this channel that are from Carrie Holzman's channel, and Catherine's very active over there. She volunteers her time to help people select component parts for building their own computers. And she's, to this point, as far as I know, does that just for the appreciation and the thank yous. But she does a wonderful job of that. And she helped me. Oh, Harold, I'm going to bring you back up into the Zoom meeting here. She helped me with the parts for the computer that I built for Joseph Oldham.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for the flight simulator. Have you seen the new flight simulator setup yet?
I have not.
Yeah. Well, I built the computer for him based on parts that he was told to use that were what I thought meant that they had been used before, but the graphics card wasn't right. So Catherine helped me find the right graphics card, and she just really saved my bacon there.
That's great.
Yeah, once again, thank you, Catherine. So, and she says, yes, I do. I love doing it in the chat. All right, so continuing here. Remove the battery. Now, the battery's not particularly sensitive or troublesome, and you have enough technical background to be okay with handling batteries, but I just say that for the purpose of anyone else that might be watching this video. So yeah, that was the end of the battery section. Then it goes on to hard drive. And that is our page 48. So I'll just scroll down. So there's the battery, then we get to the hard drive. So far, the only screws that we've seen were Phillips screws. We haven't seen any Torx screws, in which case that could have been something that you weren't prepared for if you don't have a Torx driver of the right size.
I do have them.
Okay. So then removing the hard drive, there's release the zero insertion force connector to which the hard drive cable is connected. And then disconnect the hard drive cable from the system board. So they're saying don't just pull, whoops, it just slipped on me. Scrolling back up. They're saying don't just pull the connector off of here. I don't think you can while the hard drive is still in place. They're saying to release this ZIF connector up here. Okay? The way that happens is it has a little lever on the top of it. I typically lift it with a fingernail. And this can be very, very tiny, so it helps to have some kind of a magnifying device.
I'm familiar with them.
You are, okay. And it has, then continuing for the benefit of others that might watch this video, I'm going to see if I can zoom into this with the control key and scrolling with my mouse scroll wheel. It's got this little plastic tab that you can grab with your finger to pull that wire out of the ZIF connector. It pulls out this direction. And then at that point, I like to look at this, even before you pull it out, look at the ribbon cable where it goes into the ZIF connector. You should be able to see a black line. It could be a different color. I think it's usually black across the ribbon cable. And that helps you identify that you have the ribbon cable slid all the way into the socket when you're reassembling. So when you reassemble it, you'll grab hold of this plastic tab and slide it into there and get it to a point where that black line is parallel to the edge of the ZIF connector, and you want to know that you've got it all the way in. Typically what I do, and I've done these things a lot of times, I still do this. When I disconnect it, I'll go ahead and put it right back in. So I'm familiar with how it feels, because sometimes it can be a little tricky to get it into that slot and get it seated properly. So I like to check myself on that just right away before I continue with the job. Now I want to get this back to its normal zoom level. I'm going to go over to the ellipsis menu in the upper right corner of Microsoft Edge, and then this is showing we're at 244%. I will click the minus sign to get it back down to 100%, so that's normal view. Then looking further to see if it tells us anything else of use. If it is necessary to disassemble the hard drive, and it will be, remove the hard drive brackets and then disconnect the hard drive cable from the hard drive. Well, that's curious that it's telling you to disconnect the cable after removing the brackets. I doubt that matters. I think as soon as you have that out, you can go ahead and pull that cable off. I'm really thinking you don't really need to disconnect this ZIF connector. We might have to decide that when we see it, because
once we open it, there might not be enough room to remove that connector.
Yeah, but I'm thinking once you lift this edge of the hard drive up, you should be able to remove that connector right there without disconnecting this side of it.
That's true. I would think that would be the case.
I think that's the case. I think this part of the manual is telling us to do it this way just because they don't know the purpose of what we're trying to do here. Maybe if they knew that we were just trying to replace this with an SSD, maybe they wouldn't tell us to remove that. So at this point, I'm going to say that we think this part's optional. I'd rather not do it if you don't need to. So then, at this part, what I like to do is take the hard drive out and set it down on the desk and set the new SSD side by side with the edge connectors pointed the same direction. And then carefully remove the side brackets from the old drive and put it onto the correct side of the new drive. The reason why I say it that way is that if you just randomly remove these brackets and then grab your SSD and then go to put these brackets back on, it can be challenging to figure out which side do these brackets go on, which direction do they go. You could get them upside down, you could get them on the wrong side of the drive. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer of keeping it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple and eliminate the potential for mistakes as much as possible. They're still going to happen. So there's this, the hard drive came out without any screws. There's no screws securing the hard drive in place. So apparently it's just kind of a snap press fit into this railing, and also held in place by virtue of the bottom cover. I'm wondering if any of the screws that you remove from the bottom cover actually go through any screw holes on the drive. I don't think so, because the screw holes on the drive are holding these, well, they look like they could hold the brackets, but I don't think they are. It looks like the brackets are just probably have a pin. I think the brackets have a little pin that goes into the screw hole that are on the sides of the drive. That looks likely. It doesn't need to have screws holding those brackets on because they're held in by the frame that this whole thing slides into. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on in chat. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with you guys. All right, so that takes care of the process of the drive. Did we give you printed copies of everything you care about? Do you want this page printed?
I'm okay with this one.
Yeah, I think so. It doesn't have any that much detail. Reassembly is obviously just reversing those procedures. Some of these manuals will have a section for removing the component, and then you scroll down lower and they have another section for reinstalling the component. This manual doesn't appear to do that, which is fine. All right, so now let's go look at some things about your current drive. I'm just going to minimize your web browser and minimize Outlook. And let's go open Windows Explorer. Then, okay, I'm gonna, let's see, you've got recent files, frequent folders. You've kind of customized your file explorer a little bit here, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to get back to the C drive. Where do I find it from here? You're on quick access. I'll bet this drop down will give me what I want. No, it won't. Navigation page.
Just go to that up arrow to the left of quick access.
Here, this gives me what the territory I'm familiar with. So I'll just right click on the C drive properties. So you have a 1 terabyte drive and you're using just a very tiny amount of the space. So we're not concerned about a space issue here. I'm going to take a look at, there is a SW setup folder, but my utilities tools are not in here. What I'd like to do, if you're interested, is do a speed test on your current drive so that we can have a before and after comparison of this benchmark test. Does that interest you, or do you want to skip that step and just get on with the task?
No, we can test it.
Okay. So it's been so long since I've downloaded that. I gotta go look on another screen here, remind myself even the name of it. I could upload it from my computer to your computer, but that doesn't let us demonstrate it for people. So Crystal Disk Mark, CRYSTAL, Disk Mark. I'm going to catch up on chat. Yes, I did. I love doing it. Catherine, yes, I did. Utmost welcome. She's responding to the thank you. Soon we have a Zoom meeting. Catherine's going to be on a Zoom meeting with myself and Bertland on Saturday at 12 noon Pacific time. And she's going to help us with parts for a computer that Bertland's going to be building for his client. Islander Jer, I knew I recognized that name. He's just talking to Catherine. Anytime, find me on Facebook. iFixit has a hard drive replacement guide for this model, but I cannot paste if I'm not a mod. That's okay, thank you, Catherine. But no, Catherine, I am going to make you a moderator. I'm going to be a little bit different approach on moderators than what you see on other channels. But Catherine, I'm going to make you a moderator. But I'm going to ask you not to hide people and not to delete comments. Friction Fit, she says, yeah, Sane Goat. Hello, Sane Goat. Welcome. Saying hi to Catherine. and take off the page files from the C drive. Not sure what you're referring to there, Catherine. Give me a little more detail about that. Then let's see, is this the search page you expected? Crystal Disk Mark, Microsoft Store? No. crystaldiskmark.info is probably it. This looks good.
Doug, are we going to be able to finish this phase in at least a half an hour? Because I've got I got a dental appointment I need to get to.
No, let's go ahead to ordering your drive, because this part for checking speed we can do later.
Okay.
We could do that just before swapping in the new drive.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and abort and jump over to Amazon. Now you already opened Amazon, so I'm assuming there's nothing displayed there that you would consider confidential.
No.
All right. So we'll go over here to Amazon. And then the SSD drive that I favor is Samsung Evo drives. And I'm guessing that you're probably not going to care to discuss that, and probably don't have any other brands that you're interested in. Is that true?
That's correct. I have no dog in this hunt.
Okay.
So whatever you're recommending is good with me.
Okay, well, we'll just save some time here by going straight into this. Samsung Evo, and now this is a M.2 drive. That's not what we want. This is SSD. So easy to recognize just by the shape. So there's Samsung 870 and 860, and somebody in chat mentioned the 870, and I don't offhand know the difference between those two. Could somebody in chat go ahead and tell me? There's a $10 difference. That's certainly not of concern as far as trying to save the $10. Is this 870 faster or something? Oh, John Krikorian calling. Harold knows John.
Yeah, he's my neighbor.
Yeah. I'll have to check back with him later. And let's see, Catherine saying hi to Mike. Evos are great, so are the Pros. Catherine says 1 terabyte is cheaper than the 500. Oh, wait a minute. No, those are both 1 terabyte. So that doesn't explain the difference of 970 versus 870 versus 860. I have an 860 in front of me on my desk. Okay, 6 gigabytes per second, read speed 560 megabytes. And the 860. Six gigabytes, 550 read. I tell you what, my memory for numbers when I've got a camera rolling is just horrible. Is that different than what we saw on the other one? It's got to be right around the same. Catherine's saying she would get the 870. Can you give me a reason, Catherine? SATA 3 internal SSD. There's a model number. It's only different in that second digit there, 6 versus 7. This has 1,900 reviews. It's 61,000. I'm just thinking the 870 is a newer model. Sequential reads writes are a bit better for the cost difference. Get the newer. The other was 560. Newer generation. Yeah, that's it. Newer generation. That's probably why I wasn't even aware of that number. So that'll be it. And that was actually had a thing there saying Amazon's choice. The other one did not say Amazon's choice. You save $10. Comes April 22nd, 2 days. And then add to cart. Do you have any other questions. You could go for a larger size, but you don't need that because you're not even using 100 gigabytes.
Right.
You
No,
could
that's the 1
scrimp on
terabyte's
price. 1 terabyte?
1
Okay,
terabyte's fine.
we'll do that. I never do this data recovery plan. I assume you have no interest in that.
That's correct.
And then there it is in your cart. Do you want to go ahead and do your checkout now, or should we go offline for you to complete it?
You can complete it.
All right, proceed to checkout. Nothing in here we need to do. It is listed as #1 bestseller. And go ahead and put in your password there. It shows up as dots, but I have your off screen anyway. And I still have you off screen as this is displaying your address. So then I'm going to, let's see, we're going to that address. This one here, what? I guess that's, oh, this just has the 4-digit extension. Pickup locations, no. So we use this address, and it takes us to payment method. Here you have some payment methods already in your account. Do you want to use one of those?
Yeah, go ahead and use the top Visa.
All right. And yeah, every time I touch my scroll wheel, it just starts scrolling up and down like crazy.
You want me to do it?
I'm not doing that. Yeah, go ahead and do it. It's just going up and down and up and down. I'm not touching my mouse. And then no shipping and handling and taxes showing. And there's the credit card showing on screen. Do you want to save time? No. Delivery date April 23rd. Place your order. Done.
So we can log out of here, right?
Yeah, you can log out of Amazon. And I'm thinking we go ahead and call that a wrap, and we'll do that crystal mark disk speed when we actually go to do the installation. Does that sound okay with you?
That's perfect.
Okay. Very good. Then I'll, let's see, we'll go ahead and end the Zoom session. Did you have anything else you want to discuss with me offline?
No, I think we're good to go.
Okay.
So
and
I'll let you know when I get the drive, and then we can set up a time to get back together to do the next steps.
Awesome. This is going to be fun. All right.
A little nerve-wracking on my part, but fun. Okay.
Well, let me discuss one other thing. There's we're going to use a cloning software. There's 2 software products that I'm most familiar with. Oh, now am I really going to forget the name? Oh, Macrium Reflect is the one that I have the most experience with, and it has a free edition for personal use. So you are entitled to a fully functional, well, almost fully functional, free personal use license. The things that don't function is a thing called incremental backups and sending you emails to let you know about backups, but we only care about cloning. The other product is, all right, help me in chat, the one that Carrie and Mike use, Acronis, and it has a free version for cloning hard drives, but to my awareness, it doesn't have a free version for personal use for ongoing image backups. So I'm thinking we're probably going to use Macrium Reflect, but that's still an open topic in my mind, and I'm imagining you probably don't care one way or the other.
That's correct.
Okay, very good. Then I'll have that decided by then. So I'm going to go ahead and end the Zoom session. Thank you much, Harold, And why don't you say goodbye to everybody in chat? You can just say
Well,
goodbye,
goodbye,
chat.
everybody in chat, and thanks for your assistance as well.
Yes. All right, here I'm clicking end meeting for all. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that was a session with Harold. Did I get myself back on screen? Here I come. There I am. All right, so we'll be resuming with him another time. And as Catherine in the chat made mention, she's going to be in Zoom session with myself and Bertlin this Saturday, 12 noon Pacific time. And Catherine's in Colombia, and Bertlin is in Jamaica. They'll both be 2 p.m. their local time. So what I like to do mostly, and what I want to do mostly on my channel, is to provide free computer support to people over Zoom and YouTube live streaming, just like you saw here. I have several other kinds of videos on my channel as well, but this is what I want to really do more of. So if you're interested in support at any level, wherever you're at, whatever you need help with, it just chokes me up talking about that, I guess. Whatever. Send an email to me, DougBetts at LiveWindowsTraining.com. Give me an idea of what you'd like to have help with, and we'll put it together. So thank you everybody in chat. I see Kevin showed up, and ATAX, and Sane Goat, and I'll see you all another time. Thank you for being with us. And Anna and anyone, Catherine, and any other names that I forgot that was there. Have a good day. See you later. Goodbye.